Today we are going to learn to multiply and divide by powers of 10. We're going to start by first defining what a power of 10 is. So a power of 10 is a number, like we've got 10 to start with, and then we could do 10 times 10, and that equals 100. So 10 is a power of 10, 100 is a power of 10. Anything when we just take 10 times 10 times 10 and keep multiplying by tens, they become powers of 10. And we could keep doing that forever because numbers just keep going on forever. And if you notice, there's some patterns. Always there are patterns in math, and we should always be looking for them. But notice that here we have 1, 0. This can be written as 10 to the first power. In the next one, we have 2 zeros in the factors, 2 zeros in the product, and we can write this one as 10 to the second power. Basically, this is telling us that we have, the power tells us we have 2 tens timesing by each other, 10 times 10. It also means that we have 2 zeros in our product. The next number, we have 3 zeros in the factors, 3 zeros in the product, and we write this as 10 to the third power. In our next one, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros in the factors, 4 zeros in the product, and we write this as 10 to the fourth power. Remember that the power tells us how many times how many tens we have to multiply. It also tells us how many zeros will be in the product. Okay, now you know what a power of 10 is. Let's clear this off and let's see how we can actually use this. So let's say we have the number 7 and 52 hundredths. We're going to multiply this by 10. Now let's look at it on a place value chart that we learned earlier. So this is kind of just a review. Let's kind of make our place value chart right here. Let's put our decimal right here. When we multiply by 10, remember that the numbers always move 1 over to the left. And so our product becomes 75 and 2/10. Now, we don't always want to have to draw a place value chart and move our numbers. So an easier way to do that is to look at the decimal and see how the decimal moves. So let's take a look at that. So when we multiplied by 10, if you notice the decimal is now after the 5, so it moved from here over to here. So when we multiply by 10, we can just move the decimal, and that will make it a lot quicker and easier, and we won't have to draw the place value chart. So let's get to another example. Let's take 56 times 10. Now remember that when a number doesn't have a decimal in it, like 56, the decimal really is there, we just don't write it, it's invisible. It's at the end of the number. So we're going to put our decimal on there. We're also going to move this down here so we have room to move the decimal. And we're going to multiply by 10. We're going to take the decimal and move it this way one place. Now we have this space in here that we need to fill in with a 0. The decimal is no longer there, it is right there. And our product then is 560. Now that's how you multiply by 10. Let's take a look at multiplying with some powers of 10. Let's take 8 and 36 hundredths times 10 to the second power. Now 10 to the second power, remember, means that could mean 100. Another way to write that is 10 times 10. 10 times 10 means we're going to be moving the decimal 2 places. So I'm going to write this down here to make it easier to move the decimal so that all the other stuff isn't in the way. And we're going to move it 2 places, again, to the right. And our product then is, because the decimal isn't here anymore, it's now here, is 836. Let's try one more. Let's take 52 and 3/10 and multiply that by 10 to the third power. Now remember that 10 to the third power is 1,000. We've got our 3 zeros, or it's 10 times 10 times 10. We've got to have 3 tens that we're multiplying. That means we're going to move the decimal 3 places. So let's write the number down below here, so we have room, and move it 1, 2, 3 places. It's not here anymore. Now it is here on the end. We're going to fill that in with zeros. And the product then is a 5, 2, 3, 0, 0. Put our comma in here. And our number is 52,300. The product is. And that's how you multiply by powers of 10. Now let's take a look at how you divide by powers of 10. Okay, let's say we have the number 83 and 25 hundredths, and we're going to divide that by 10. Now a quick review when we did this on the place value chart. Let's make our number right here, 83 and 25 tenths. When you divide by 10, remember the whole number would move this direction whenever we divided by 10. Making the quotient 8 and 325 thousandths. Now, we don't want to draw a place value chart every time, so we are going to take a look at how the decimal moved when we were dividing. So it was after the 3, but now it's after the 8. So it actually moved one place to the left. So when we divide by 10, we move one place to the left for each 10 that we're dividing by. And let's take a quick look then at what that looks like when we're dividing by powers of 10. So let's take 752 and 6/10 and divide that by 10 to the second power. Remember, that's the same as 10 times 10, so we're going to move the decimal 2 places, but this time we're going to move the decimal to the right. 1, 2, the decimal is no longer here, it is now here, and the quotient then is 7 and 526 thousandths. Let's try one more. I'm going to go ahead and clear that so we have more room. Let's try 32 and 5/10 divided by 10 to the third power. Remember, 10 to the third power is the same as 10 times 10 times 10. We have 3 tens that we're multiplying by this. And we're going to divide by 3 of these. So that means we're going to move the decimal 3 places to the right. 1, 2, 3. The decimal is no longer here, it is now here, but we have the space right here. We're going to need to fill that in with a 0. And the quotient now is 325 ten-thousandths. Now, the main thing to remember, let me clear this off, is that when you are multiplying by 10 or powers of 10, that you're going to move the decimal to the right. You're moving the decimal to the right. You move it one space for each 10 that you're multiplying. When you're dividing by 10, you're moving the decimal one place to the left for each 10 that you are dividing by each power. So for example, if we're multiplying a number by 10 to the third power, we're going to move the decimal 3 places. to the right. If we're dividing by 10 to the third power, we're going to move the decimal 3 places to the